look at this. It's not bad. What a moron.
Trek.
Marketplace.
Alpha, too reliable. Golf GTI. Brother, what's that?
Mustang. No, can't race that. Alpha, always a good choice. Up, Neil would like the up. Trek. Supra. Nice.
Is that it? Is that a Supra?
Wait. Is that a Supra?
Who the fuck would buy that? Yo! Is that a Supra?
The boys won't mind. Best price, cash. Is that available? Let's go. There we go. There it is. Guys, come check it out. Come check it out. Come check what I bought.
What? That is insane.
Dude. What a shitbox.
Rude.
But it's a Supra.
Shitbox.
It's a Supra.
JDM royalty. It's a pretty big shitbox, I must say. This is GT car.
This is some cool shit.
It's some cool shit. Yes. You guys ready to get your hand dirty?
Nice. Well, I just touched it, so my hands
Yeah, I was about to say, it's quite dirty.
So what we have ourselves here is a Supra Barnfind from the looks of it.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the Induction Noise YouTube channel. The podcast is on a little bit of a break because what is it that we did?
Yeah,
We bought a Supra. We have bought the cheapest Supra probably in the world. This car is about the same price as a new iPhone. Cheaper than a new iPhone.
Cheaper.
So, Niku, how did this happen?
So I was scrolling not through Marketplace, even though we kind of made it look like Marketplace. I was just going through Facebook. Surprise, surprise. What did I see? A Supra in a barn. Well, in a workshop. Right?
Shed.
In a shed. And I thought it's probably been sold. There's no price. There's no nothing to it. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm letting it go. You know? Next day, I thought, you know what, that could have made a cool lemon if it was cheap enough. And I thought, let me ask Doug, you know, is this still available? As one does on Facebook, right? And he said, yeah, come and have a look at it. And I was like, okay, cool. Let me go and have a look at it. It's close. And basically went in and I asked him, what's the story about the car? And he said, well, he bought a car for the motor. But he didn't think that the motor's that big. You know, it's a lot of power. It's Supra.
It's a Supra.
And yeah, and he basically saw it's too big and he pushed it in the corner of his workshop and he just left it.
Supra in the corner.
And a year or a few years later, we rocked up, well I rocked up, without telling you guys, and I went, I'm gonna go buy that for us. And yeah, after some negotiation, not that much negotiation, but some negotiation, we bought this for less than our iPhone, for 25 grand. And
it's a Supra.
Supra. So the story
It's a twin turbo, 6-cylinder JDM Supra.
So and we'll go through the car now. I think then I'll show you guys some of the stuff I've discovered.
So guys, this is pretty much what came out of the boot of our Supra. Over here we have the air conditioning fluid tank, I think, 55 liters. We've pulled the fuel level sender out of it, so this obviously floats in your in the fuel in the tank, and it indicates how much fuel you've got in the car. We did put a multimeter onto this, but it looks like this is kaput, so we'll probably need a new one of these. Rather more impressively, it does look like the fuel pump is actually pretty clean. I mean, if you look at the bracket that it attaches to, that's obviously and clearly original. But this looks like it probably was replaced fairly recently, in terms of mileage at least. So we could probably use that.
Anything this guy says, what?
The fuel tank itself is in pretty good shape as well. There's a bit of gunk in there, a little bit of corrosion, but we can clean that up. Steve's going to show us some cool tricks to do that. We've got some rusties. What's this stuff called?
Vapor rust.
Evapor rust.
So that was suggested by, you remember Wheeler Dealers?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so the tall guy from Wheeler Dealers,
Ed.
he did a test with that,
Ed
and
China.
that was the best.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, as recommended by Ed China, this is not sponsored in any way, shape or form. So we're going to chuck some of this in the tank, and we'll shake it around with some stuff in there to act as an abrasive, like a galvanized chain or some bolts and things just to loosen it up. Quite impressively, it is a baffled tank. So
I know we'll be able to see that.
it's perfect for racing. It's too dark to really see on camera, but we can stick the bore scope in there later.
It's quite baffling, but we're glad that it is.
Yeah. We've also got some trim pieces that came out of the car. So this obviously goes down at the front of the windscreen. It's in okay-ish kind of shape.
Don't break it.
There's a little bit of rust on it, but this I think is probably salvageable. We'd have to strip back the finish. There's like a rubberish finish on it, which we'd have to strip back, and it can get repainted and the rubber reattached at the bottom. There's like a little rubber seal at the bottom.
We don't need that where we're
But
going.
we don't need this where we're going, but you know, it's
Like it adds weight.
adds weight. We have some bright work by the looks of it. That's not so bright, but it's there.
Just work.
It's just work. I think this is the windscreen surrounds must be or something.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the complete windscreen surround, but it's a windscreen surround, so that's there. We have random heat shield of awesomeness. That's what I'm naming it.
Plates.
We also have a thing.
A bar of some description.
Some stiffness
Oh,
bar.
that's a good idea. It's about time. Let's go. Have a bit. No, wait. What else do we have? We do have
Ooh, the piece de resistance.
the cam gear cover with Yamaha
Yamaha on it.
on it. So that's there.
Because this was one of the first engines that Yamaha and Toyota collaborated on.
And it's even, I mean, the rubber gasket on this is actually still
It's mint.
in really good shape. I doubt we'd need to replace that because there's no oil really in there. So that's fine. We have some fencing swords, I think. And at the end of the day, it's all there. We've got a radiator. We've got the fan. We'll probably replace that with an electric fan, I think. This is not from our car. It's just a random gearbox. But yeah, that's our Supra. Let's spanner on it. So let's go.
Let's go.
Right, let's have a look at this engine, boys.
Let's wheel.
Let's wheel.
Show me the money.
As you can see, it's an engine. So, I'm going to tell you guys a surprise I found inside of the car. I've seen that this motor was rebuilt back in 2015. So, if we have a look at the
Did you put a scope inside the
No,
combustion
no,
chamber
no,
to
no,
say
no.
this, or
No,
did you
there's
discover
paperwork
this?
for it. There's paperwork for it. And if you look at the oil, look at that. It's brand new, basically. So, gonna taste it?
5W40?
There we go. That must be
synthetic.
It's only stuff they throw in the alphas, that's why they're quoting that.
Motul?
Motul. Could
There
be.
you go.
Could be.
It was a good year.
That's a good idea. So yeah, so I mean, the car looks quite complete. And we'll get onto the engine first when we start working on it. But, let's get to the interior. Now obviously we won't need the interior. But look at that, Neil, I'm sure you can fit in that car.
I actually do.
There we go. And yeah, we've got full interior.
But it seems like there's something missing here.
I mean, small wings.
It's the Superleggera version.
It's got advanced ventilation holes.
Yeah.
Looking by the weight of what the rear one weighs, I think you'd rather stick with the front and not the back one. We can lose the rear instead.
I assume that it's been standing for quite a while because it's got a bit of
It's been standing for quite a bit.
industry trust.
Industry trust. so yeah, so I mean it's got full interior. We're anyways going to rip this out. So if anyone is looking for Mark III Supra interior, it does
This
that.
one does.
It's going to cost you 25k, you know, for the interior.
Bargain.
bargain. But yeah, it still looks mint. We're not going to need it though.
Tell us a bit about the big thing about the body as well, because I think that's quite awesome. I mean, the engine has been rebuilt, and actually a little bit of story about the.
So the story goes from the oak that Al bought it from, that bought it for the motor. He actually bought it from a body shop because the previous owner either passed away or couldn't pay for the car after it went to the body shop. So I'm assuming once we wash it, it's actually going to have like quite nice paint under it.
I mean, there's
It's
no
either
rust
going to
on
be
it.
good or
There's
it's going to
no-
be bad, but we'll know once we wash it.
I mean, there's no rust. I've been under the car quickly, and I think we've got onto a bit of a bargain here. I don't think it's we've done too dumb of a thing.
So priority number one was to make sure that the engine actually turns over. So we grabbed a spanner and a couple of other bits and pieces, and we turned it around to make sure that nothing is seized up. We did discover that some of the belts were a little loose and the water pump pulley was only barely attached, but we were soon going to sort those little niggles out. In the meantime, some of us got distracted with some of the car's features.
So this might be problematic when we're actually doing something with the car to climb out and put the lights
Yeah,
on.
this might be.
But we'll figure that out.
So what we're trying to do first, right, is we've got a loose pulley in here, and the accessory belt is a bit loose if you look at this like this, right? We've got a thing of bolts that we can try and put in here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to see if the motor spins, right? I mean, that's kind of important. We know that it's been rebuilt, but let's actually see if the motor spins. So Andre is quickly looking for a special tool because, as you can see, this has quite a weird, let me just take this off. It's got quite a weird nut, right?
Hold still.
And so yeah, he's looking on a special as well that side. I see they come in here, so let's see whatever they have.
Now, strictly speaking, we didn't need to tighten up the water pump pulley or the belts in order to spin the motor over, but we wanted to turn all the ancillaries with the starter motor to make sure that they do actually still turn after all the years of sitting in a barn.
Okay, Nico, you can swing it. I'll tell you when the timing is right. No, but to the left.
With Andre's useful timing advice to one side, we decided to carry on spannering to see if we can get the engine to turn over. Obviously at this stage we've got no fuel supply, no fuel pump hooked up, so our intention wasn't to start it.
Right, so
Let's turn this baby over.
Yeah, so plan of action is we can see the timing marks on the engine, so we're just going to take it to TDC with the L spanner, and then got the distributor This is out. We'll just get that in there, get the distributor on, just so that everything's sealed, right? So we don't want oil spitting out everywhere or whatever. And then we've got a battery. We'll see if it turns. Look at those now. Now we're supposed to film stuff, right? But
thanks for letting us film this, guys.
I'm baffled with the amount of baffles in here.
Oh, we'll get more views like that. People are gonna look at this link. Look at these fucking idiots.
I'm more interested by the fact that I think this is genuinely the first time in his life that Andre's held a screwdriver.
Andre, I put a set of...
fucking ridiculous. It's the second time.
Yeah. Why did you put on the gloves?
You want gloves, Andre?
Yeah, put them on. Then you see how
Real men don't wear gloves, man.
I've got the same gloves. Those
Have you
things are
noticed the American oaks working on cars where those like latex gloves?
Yeah.
And the English oaks just grease everywhere.
those
See, now he looks like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Plus also those the black plastic ones, yes, you sweat. You take it all off, and your whole hand is basically like, it's like you're sitting in a sauna.
Yeah, you're right. I don't like the feel. But if you're working with solvents and paint, then it's quite good.
Yeah.
Because those ones absorb solvents and then that makes it actually worse.
Yeah.
There, you see how that came loose with those gloves?
Mm-hmm. Look at that.
Look at that. That's 90% worth.
It was worth the money.
Now, since we weren't going to be starting the motor and only turning it over, we figured we want to do this as safely as possible. So we pulled all the spark plugs out of the engine, make sure there's no compression, and also shoved a bore scope down into each cylinder to see what they actually look like inside. And as per the invoice that Niku found inside the car, we can tell you that the engine is basically brand new inside as well. There's brand new pistons, the cylinder walls are like new, it's spectacular in there. So we have no doubt that the engine will fire once we hook up all the other bits and pieces. What we did notice though is that as soon as we hooked up the booster pack for the battery, the lights came on, the headlights came on, and they wouldn't switch off. So there's clearly a problem with the headlight relay or switch. We also thought that there was a problem with the main relay because even with the ignition switched off and the key taken out, there's still a 40 amp current being drawn by the car. So something somewhere might be loose. There's probably a loose wire somewhere hanging against the body, causing a short. There's probably a couple of relays that are broken or stuck in the on position or something along those lines. So there's going to be some wiring that needs figuring out, but at this stage we're quite happy to just turn it over.
So we've got something plugged in there for the to give it some battery juice. As you can see, we've got an and dash, we've got indicator stuff, whatever it does.
We see lights.
Ooh, fuck
shit,
me.
don't do that.
Hello? Off? Okay. Nothing. Damn it.
Gatherings with your buddies. My buddies asked me the black one. Oh, can I
Nothing.
the parking lot? Next thing I see fucking smoke.
So, unfortunately it doesn't start, so we've got quite more work to do. Unfortunately we didn't get it to spin over, so
Next time we're going to be pulling the starter motor out.
Yeah, next time we'll get the car on a lift, we'll put the starter motor out and we'll see why it doesn't turn. It seems like the starter motor is the issue, but it seems like there's some wiring gremlins.
Yeah, I think the solenoid is a bit jammed up.
Yeah, I mean, even if ACC completely off, we've still got lights here as well. But for starter-wise, I think, like you said, solenoid is a bit jammed up. So yeah, we'll try and get it swinging. We won't get it started in the next video, but I think the next video, what we'll probably do, Q, is we'll try and get it swinging, get it on the lift, and then maybe start looking at what we can put in that fuel tank to get that cleaned up. Because to start a car, we need fuel, right? So.
Okay guys, so obviously it didn't spin under its own power. We think the solenoid on the starter motor is stuck. We can see a little bit of surface corrosion there. We can hear it clicking like it wants to do something. The solenoids are clicking, but there's definitely, as Niku said, there's some kind of electronic gremlin in the car. We hooked it up to this fancy booster pack that is in the workshop, and with the car sitting doing nothing, it's drawing 40 amps. And when you take the car and shake it, that goes up to 50 amps. And eventually, if you keep shaking the car, it actually trips out the box because it just starts drawing so much current. So I suspect there's somewhere in the car, there's a loose wire that's hanging around and it's arcing somewhere or sparking, or something is just not as it should be. And that's why the electronics are going a little bit haywire. But next time, we're going to stick it on the lift. We're going to try and get the starter motor loose, and once it's loose, we'll try and put power to it directly, just to turn the engine and make sure that it spins and that the starter motor is good. And then we go from there. We're going to go and try and find whatever it is that's causing our electronic gremlin, whether it's a dodgy switch or a loose wire or whatever it is. We'll look for it and find it. So until then, stay classy.